out. Kill confirmed. Tango down. Kill confirmed. Man down. Kill confirmed. Man down. I'm on it. Man down. Kill confirmed. Man down. Tango down. Man down. Kill confirmed. Tango down. Kill confirmed. Man down. Man down. Man down. Target range.
Go down. Man down. Go down.
target. Bulky on target. I'm on it. Targeting range. Show me the money. See you on the other side. Show me the money. Engaging target. Show me the money.
Don't care child, woman, baby, male, they don't care who. These guys don't have no remorse and no respect for nobody. They just shoot. Yes, it's pretty hectic in this area.
These kids don't got no structure. They don't got no remorse for nothing they do.
Hey, now look, you enough. You better move off the 4th floor.
See you on the other
I'll
side.
be there every day. Every day. Gotta go to your mama house. Y'all back door to
I'm
wall.
on it.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this one, well, like damn, old block again.
You right.
But I promise you, this video will introduce you to a new generation that you've never heard of before. However, in order for it all to make sense, I must cover a whole lot of background information. So in this video, we'll look at the history of Overwatch, why they're so loyal to each other, and how the new generation has completely messed it up. With that being said, welcome to the new generation.
Show me the money.
Going into it. Let me run the intro. Chicago has always been a wicked and dangerous city, and most importantly with a huge underworld. Whether it was the mafia, or today's beauties and divas, through all of these eras there's always been one constant, violence and never stops. And because of this, hardworking families have been scrambling to so the families with good money either moved to the north side or down to the daily suburbs to get away. And that left many low-income families becoming bankers and embarrassed. Specifically, the south sides have become the worst parts of the city, averaging
This way.
50 homicides a day over the last 50 years. As a result, many of these families feel trapped in this environment or looking for an affordable way out. So what is the solution to this problem? A wonderful new phenomenon called co-op housing.
Co-op has opened its doors to everyone. Its first curtain building.
Show me the money.
New responsibilities.
Here, instead of buying an apartment, you purchase the right to live in it by investing in the corporation. It's cheaper than buying a home.
Focusing on
and it's a great
target.
way to find an upstanding neighborhood. Because there's a barrier to entry, it pretty much weeds out all the gang members and uneducated individuals and creates a safe enclave in the middle of the hood. Well, one of these
ASAP.
complexes was built on King Drive between 63rd and 66th, easily one of Southside
Attack.
Chicago's worst areas. The co-op was named after the middle-class families.
With 35 buildings and nearly 700 units, it quickly became a premier housing choice for African American families.
I was growing up, this was considered the elite property for doctors, lawyers, nurses, professional people that lived over here. This was the cornerstone of our community.
It's protected by train yards on the south and west sides and elementary schools to the north. Sadly, the complex was started. Parkway sold the complex to a new investor who decided to get rid of the co-op status. They replaced it with Section 8 renting, and here's where the problems began. Throughout the 80s and 90s, the new owners neglected the property and started accepting new residents without background checks. And because of this, Chicago kingpins began moving into the complex to operate their business. Specifically, a BD kingpin named Tokyo G opened up in the complex and built a major operation. So major traffic was coming in and out of the Parkway Gardens on a daily basis, which caused other hoods to become jealous. Specifically, a territory across King Drive thought that he was taking up their business and they plotted on his head. This would be a reputed GD set called STL, long known for putting in work. Well, in September of 1998, Tokyo was tragically killed while rolling through their neighborhood. This is known to be the first official loss of Parkway as a collective, and from what we know, STL were the big bullies in the neighborhood and they simply eliminated Tokyo because he was taking their customers. In most of Chicago, this was just knew what These other hoods had major gangs that had been rocking together for decades. Parkway really had nothing. They didn't have structure and there was no unity in order for them to fight off these other hoods. And as a result of all this, no one respected them in the streets, which will actually be important. Well, because of this lack of respect, many of the Parkway youth were disrespected at school. This made it very important for them to stick together and to always have each other's backs against all odds. Since the very start, it was loyalty and brotherhood over everything, as it was the only way they could survive. Then out of nowhere, their challenges would become even more complicated. Chicago began tearing down the majority of their public housing, and instead of rebuilding the projects, they decided to give all of the residents Section 8 rentals where they could move into complexes like Parkway Gardens. And just like that, the Parkway Gardens filled up with project residents from all over the city. Obviously, with all the potentially dangerous situation. Gang members could now be neighbors, and not to mention that the original Parkway residents were entering the house as well. The Parkway teenagers could potentially not like these other hoods moving into theirs, and maybe they'll want to send a message. Things could potentially get ugly. There was only one way to keep the peace. The Parkway Gardens residents need to agree to unify as one and to leave alone their past affiliations. So here's how it plays out. One particular Parkway native would step up to unify everyone who was moving in. This would be O.D. Perry, one of the most charismatic yet dangerous teenagers you'll ever meet.
Tell me about O.D. Perry. This is your best friend.
Folks was a gangster. He was real savage. Folks was like a young lad. He had heart. He was fearless. He didn't have no fear. He was really scared.
According to many, O.D. Perry was like the leader of the new generation of Parkway.
It's like our big brother coach, showing us the ropes as far as like small stuff. Got a little money on the mission, like a few thousand, motherfuckers didn't have money back then. So we started doing the same thing.
O.D. Perry was a dangerous teenager, but instead of pushing people away, he wanted to unify Parkway as one. Essentially, him and his little homie T-Roy were the ones to welcome everyone in and have them all pushing Parkway. On top of this, O.D. was very advanced, and he was known to put a lot of people from the younger generation onto his lifestyle. But on the flip side, if they ever had issues with people in school or on the streets, O.D. was always there to back them up. To him and T-Roy, they saw loyalty as the only way Parkway would ever survive the streets of Chicago. You must always have your brothers back, right or wrong, and crossing them, you better not do it. Okay, so you might be sitting there saying, like, why do they all have to be used? Who's these people are trying to harm them? So let me explain what I mean. Right across the STL gangster disciples. For years, they were the bullies of the whole Woodlawn area. They always took Parkway as a joke. But with this generation led by O.D. and Lost Top, the Parkway Gardens were not going to put up with this. So every single day in the mid-2000s, there were fights both in school and on the streets. It continued like this for a few years, and thankfully no one ever died. But then O.D. Perry decided he was time to go full-fledged on the rivals, no more fighting. He allegedly tells O.D. that fighting is no longer allowed and it's time to start sparking sticks. He did this to prepare the youngins that the Parkway Gardens were now becoming implicated in a serious deadly beef. Specifically, the local gangs of STL, Jarrow City, and 051 Young Money were clicked up against 600 and Front Street. And because Parkway had clicked up with the latter two hoods, they were becoming targets in the beef themselves. Yeah, things were about to get ugly, and O.D. wanted to make sure that his hood was ready for real beef. Because once the beef crosses that line, everyone from Parkway will now be a target. Well, because of O.D., the beef would definitely cross that line. On January 12, 2011, Parkway claimed the life of 15-year-old Shondale Chuka Gregory at a bus stop on 63rd. From all accounts, Chuka wasn't even in the beef, he just so happened to hang out with the members in the neighborhood.
He just wanted to do right to get him back. Was he gang related?
Wasn't in the game?
No.
The loss of Chuka devastated the 63rd community, especially his best friend, F.B.B. Duck.
And me and him clicked, like that was one of my real close friends. Every day, like spend the night at his house, we spend the night at man.
Duck was at home when he heard the shots, and he went out running to see what happened.
I ran all the way from 67 and Wabash all the way to 630 St. Lawrence. Sleeping right there on the floor.
After grieving this terrible loss, found out that Odie Perry was the one responsible.
I knew exactly who killed Took right away because there was so many people out there. Walked up and only killed Took, only shot Took.
You was at the bus stop.
Yeah, he was at the bus stop. He was at the bus stop 6 deep. He killed Took.
Odie Perry is.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Because of this horrible event, STO was ready to get revenge on Parkway. And because of this, the younger generation of Parkway was now forced to get violent as well. According to T. Roy, he was already ready to get stepping. His friends would as well. This would be a friend who had only moved into Parkway
Show me the
before
money.
this incident. This would be 15-year-old Davon Bennett, who was already a goon. But not only was he a goon, he was also charismatic and extremely handsome. I'm just kidding. Well, as soon as he moved in, he was treated like family, with Odie welcoming him and T-Roy becoming his best friend. Like, for whatever reason, him and T-Roy hit it off on the first day, so much so that Vaughn was willing to slide for him. And just like that, Parker was developing their first official goon squad. They weren't even they were just guys who held loyalty and brotherhood over all else. They started calling themselves Wick City, Wick for wild, insane, crazy, and 3 eyes to show greedy alliance. Still though, after the death of Tucker, nobody respected them because they never had history.
But yeah, that was the name, Wick City, and people used to make fun of us because like, you know, like growing up on food stamps and stuff, you get called the Wick.
Well, over Southside Chicago, the Parkway Gardens were filled with young and wicked goons. Obviously, they were led by OG and Rockstar, but the young guys were equally as wild. Miniature T-Roy and super handsome Vaughn were like beasts that were ready to be unleashed. All they needed was a reason to start stepping, and sadly that reason would come. After the loss of Tuka, STL was determined to get revenge on OD. And that day would come, August 10th, 2011. But shortly after midnight, an Odie Perry hops on the car to head to the Parkway Garden gates, and SUV right there stops in its tracks. That's when 2 assailants hop out and run down on OD. This was a huge moment in Chicago history, and the Parkway Gardens were absolutely shocked. OD was one of those staples in the community that you can never imagine losing.
Cause he was like one of our first ones that we lost. Like, we weren't losing friends at the time or losing close ones at the time. So when we lost him, everybody felt it.
Due to his significance, everyone decided to ditch the Wick City name and adopt O-Block in his commemoration.
I remember the day after OD died, man, and I was like, damn, I wonder what the hell we gonna call the block now, cause, and then as soon as like we came around, we all the way on the 60, and I saw that bitch right there spray painted on the garbage can, O-Block. I tell that bitch, I'm like, I just started that shit, I'm like, I knew they was gonna call this bitch O-Block, like I knew he was.
The loss of OD brought everyone in Parkway even closer together than before. They were all there for this, and for whatever reason, it brought them an inexplicable bond. Nothing could ever separate or divide O-Block, because they were now all together in his commemoration. OD was big on everyone sticking together, so if we ever get in fights with our brothers, we're never taking it too far. Remember this for later in the video. Well, after the loss of OD, T-Roy and Vaughn would go absolutely nuts for revenge.
It was sad, man, and then T-Roy was right there with him his last little moments, and T-Roy, and then T-Roy said that, oh, damn, they got me, bro, like that was his last words. And today, so that shit changed T-Roy. That shit changed T-Roy, cause that shit happened, Troy and Vaughn, what the jumped off head first, and when they did, they jumped off at a higher level, more aggressive than the who was around or was.
T-Roy, Vaughn, and the rest of Parkway believed that it was a 14-year-old girl named Jakira Barnes who did this to OD. But not only this, the brother would insinuate it as well.
She killed some of the 14 as revenge.
OD got his shit splat.
Odie Perry got killed at one point.
But even after claiming the life of OD, the STL side was not done stepping. In fact, several O-Block members would lose their life in the coming months.
And they're saying that
Jordan.
So with all these O-Block losses, Miniature T-Roy and Handsome Vaughn were ready to start stepping. In fact, over the next year, the T-Roys were absolutely nuts. They would allegedly claim Royale, Modell, P5, James, and Stone. 2012 was a truly dangerous year to be a rival of O-Block. Then, in 2014, they would finally get real revenge for the loss of OD. On April 11, 2014, Jakira K.I. Barnes was targeted in the heart of STL territory.
I'm just gonna miss her presence. She was a very, very beautiful, well-known, lovely girl.
17-year-old Jakira Barnes loved basketball, her friends, and being with family.
I love her. And I'm here
Open fire.
to have justice because I have to spirit. So there was no kids being gunned down.
I wish I was laughing at my sister. I wish I was sending my sister this money. I wish I was sending my sister these pictures of me at these interviews. For these platforms. I wish I was strong Kyrie. So good. That hurt my soul. Heavy.
It was a massive loss for the STL side. Mark Finney was way past any punches okay. Ron and T-Roy were
Target in range.
but in the meantime, they wouldn't be touchable. They both went to jail, and T-Roy also went on jail for his friends and T-Roy was bound to return to Chicago. This is when O-Block would take their next massive loss. It's Valentine's Day, where most couples are spending time with their lovers, and their single girls are taking pictures on Instagram with flowers that they bought themselves. So when O-Block's biggest stickler, there's no time for the lovey-dovey. At 11 in the morning, T-Roy notices that his top posted a picture on Instagram and he instantly knows the location. So right away, he hops on the bus and heads down to his ops location. When he gets there, he doesn't notice anyone outside, so he decides to walk block by block looking for his op. Little does he know an STL member happens to
Show me
be
the
in the
money.
area and spots him walking around. So the man whose name is FPG Brick calls a fellow STL member and tells him what he saw. So instantly, TB and his friend allegedly head down to T-Roy's location. When they get there, they notice him walking into a convenience store, so they quietly follow him in. That's when they get up close to
Standing by.
him, corner him in, and take his head over the sword. Everything flows for over. It may be hard to understand, but T-Roy was like one most important member of the community. Not only was he an original couple of recipes, he was people to jump off the porch.
Troy used to call me a slim, man. When I first jumped off the porch, man, Troy used to... Man, like Troy, he was a little evil, trying to teach me how to drill.
You
Like,
on the other side.
teach me how to drill, what to aim, what to go for, what to hit, what's that? Yeah.
From all accounts, after the loss of OD, T-Roy was the head honcho of O-Block. Not only was he sliding on rivals, he was also keeping O-Block
Target in
united
range.
and checking any members who fell out of line.
What about T-Roy, man? When you were on the block, T-Roy was T-Roy.
T-Roy, I definitely say was...
Target in range.
He ain't gotta take the road to T-Roy, but he was ruthless.
T-Roy's loss was just another more than his best friend Vaughn. Vaughn was devastated about the loss of his best friend. This is how Get Back Gang formed, which is essentially the second generation of O-Block. A bunch of O-Blockians who were never in the streets decided to step up and strap on their cleats. These included T-Roy's little brothers Heck and Zell Munna, who were never in the streets before. In fact, for their entire childhood, T-Roy sheltered them from the streets and made sure they would never be in this position. But after their big brothers lost, the villains were going while not only were but the older generation of O-Block would as well. Essentially, every generation of O-Block united as one, all in the name of
See
Get Back
you on
Gang.
the other side.
Internal affairs and backdoor activities.
See you on the other side.
Numerous organizations in Chicago history, with so many members fighting against the rival side was taking losses left and right. Get Back
Raymond
Gang
Spring.
became the loss of FPG Break, TB,
Raymond Spring. Engage your target.
All of this happened because T-Roy's loss. They had literally Roy. But now that his streets were quiet, he focused on his newly found weapon. Instead of chasing down ops, he was now chasing down students.
Doing all this shit and shit.
Good luck.
So now I need something to do.
Target in range.
His first single beat that body, which got him popping in the So with all this new fame and money, Vaughn decided to move to
Move out.
On August 4th, 2020, 6 members of the dumbest way possible. STL's biggest rapper, man who doesn't like him.
Show me the money.
He's upset that Duck is having relationships with him, and he wants to do something about it.
Move out.
But instead of confronting him,
Standing by.
so instantly 6 get back in and Duck's location, which happens to be the
Too
westernmost mall
easy.
in all of Illinois. They drive around the Dolce and Gabbana store, and that's when the members make
Go, go, go!
the sloppiest way to ever done. They also never took
Good luck.
their off their phones. Because of this, they were all bound to get elected. This dumb decision would end up being the very end of Get Back In. Then just a few months later, Roblox City on November 6, 2020, Vaughn loses his life in Atlanta after a serious altercation.
Had been following in that grove in an overnight shootout.
Atlanta police say 2 people are dead after an officer-involved shooting here on Trinity Avenue in downtown. As dawn turned to daylight, you could make out dozens of evidence markers. GBI crime scene investigators combing the scene.
Pretty active scene, pretty chaotic.
Vaughn was truly the king of O-Block, as he was the one who was keeping everyone together and also making sure that everyone was putting in work. On top of this, he was the bridge between the younger and older generations, making sure that respect was always intact. In Chicago, the young generations of hoods have been known to backdoor the OGs or anyone who they want. It's nothing like LA where there's structures and commands of respect. However, because of OD, T-Roy, and then King, everything in O-Block was always intact. But now,
This way.
you'll see what happens. While Get Back Game was fading away, the new generation of O-Block was coming up out of nowhere. But this generation is rarely heard about, as many people believe that O-Block died when King died. This couldn't be further from the truth, as Vaughn left him a wonderful legacy to look up to. As much as he was praised and idolized for what he did, you could only imagine that the misdeeds Vaughn, this generation has no loyalty to those
Weapon
around
spray.
them, even crossing OG if they want to. But first, let me introduce you to the next generation. We start out with a teenager named Jamon Brown, commonly known as Mom. As a kid, he discussed his own childhood and witnessing all of the tragedies he's seen in his video. Despite this adversity, Mom had a good time and skilled to love the play. I mean, he even played on his high school team. Well, his determination would pay off as he was accepted to Western Illinois University where he enrolled as college. Life was looking like a success story for Jamon, but after a few months of college, things would take a sharp left turn. On the day of 2019, Jamon was having mental outbursts in his dorm, counting other students to
See you on the other side.
So as soon as he enters the building, he's noticed by security. So police instantly come to his dorm and arrest him for trespassing. But Jamon resists the arrest. This is truly sad because Jamon needed help from the university and the system. He was arrested. Seeking mental health into a criminal. Get even worse. During the ride to jail, Jamon has another outburst where he takes the door and says that he's going to blow things up.
What's wrong, bro? Y'all just can't get no peace. Go! You get arrested for nothing. No sense, bro. No sense. I will blow this up. I swear to God I will. I don't give a fuck.
And eventually his charges would be dropped. Sadly though, he now had to return to O-Block where his surroundings got worse. Trust me, the Parkway Gardens is no place for anyone dealing with mental health. And on top of this, his return home would be at the worst time possible as it was right at the start of a new generation of O-Block versus Taekwon World beef. While Jamon was off in college, his friends were jumping off the porch on the rivals. And on that note, let me introduce you to the new generation of O-Block. First, you have Jamon's best friend named Lil Mike. Then you have Taekwon Manny, also known as TQ, 17-year-old known for getting money. Next, you have his older brother DQ, who's on the same height, but he's also trying to be the next king. Directly after Montauk, exactly who he was hanging with. And just 2 weeks after his return, things would be tragic for the first time in his generation.
Engaging target.
It's a Monday afternoon in O-Block and TQ gets ready to do business in another place. Specifically, he heads 15 minutes down the road to a place called Fintown. Fintown has nothing to do with O-Block, and figures that everything is great. Everyone was devastated, but also puzzled about the situation. Who could have done this to TQ, and why did they set him up? And it all centered around an alleged photo on member named because he happens to be the first cousin of Evan.
Focusing on target.
Of course, this is just speculation. So remember the name, BCL members I mentioned. But before they get back, sadly they lose another friend. 2 months later, February 8th, 2020. Jado gets a text from his friend Dinero asking him to come. So Jado instantly gets ready so that the man is following him. He catches up to Jado and doesn't
Targeting range.
Jado was like the OD carry story of the new generation. He was together, but he was also nothing.
He was like our age group, like the new generation. From our block, he was the leader. I'ma say he was like one of the smartest one out of all us.
This way.
Yeah, folks like the brain and he was the mastermind after all that shit.
Well, the started calling themselves the Jado Jumpers. Now everyone was on board to get revenge for Jado.
That's great.
Dinero posted a screenshot of his last conversation with Jado. So now that Dinero was in the field, while the rival Taekwon World side started celebrating, specifically specifically a Taekwondo World member named D. Money was still alive and still This would not end well for D. Money. May 15th, 2020, outside Chicago, and D. Money is held walking himself. As he's casually walking around his neighborhood, a car creeps up on him. That's when a man hopped out of the passenger seat and walked all the way up to him. And before he can react, the man hits his head over the foot. And just like that, another generation of Taekwondo World versus O-Block beef was stamped. It's the same exact way that T-Roy and Vaughn went on a tear for OD, and then how Get Back Gang went on a tear for T-Roy. If one thing is for certain, it's that starting a beef with O-Block is never a good idea. Once you poke the bear, they just never stop coming, and there's no timeline on revenge. And that fast forwards us a year to February 8th, 2021. In Chicago, trying to throw parties or just having fun with your friends is never an easy task. You never know if your ops are going to show up to the party or if a simple argument will turn deadly. So because of this, many people from the hood in Chicago will head out to other cities to have some fun in peace. Sometimes they'll go up to Milwaukee, out to Iowa City, or potentially down to Indianapolis. But for FBG, they tend to stay closer to home in the tucked-off suburb of Bloomingdale, Illinois. In particular, they rent out a couple rooms at the Indian Lakes Hotel where they can have some peaceful fun. Well, on this particular Friday night, the word gets out and over 200 people show up to the hotel. This includes FBG Duck's cousin Measle, who O-Block believe claimed the life of TQ. Because of this, Measle happens to be one of the most wanted men in Southside Chicago. But on this night, he figures no one will find him and he can sit back and have some good old fun. The party is jumping, girls are twerking everywhere, and everything is going well for over an hour. It gets to the point where the whole 6th floor hallway is flooded with people, and it's a party like you've never seen before. Well, at 2 a.m., a couple of men in masks wiggle through the hallways looking for Measle. They then push their way into the party where they see him. Sadly, they make a tragic decision.
That's right. Right now, police still here on scene of the hotel serving search warrants, looking for evidence like weapons linked to this investigation. Police tell me this isn't the first time they've been called to the hotel. It was the sound of gunfire coming from the Indian Lakes Hotel around 2:30 this morning that prompted this massive police response.
Units respond to Indian Lakes Resort for the shots fired report 250 West Chick.
What police say started as a large hotel party with nearly 200 people ended in gunfire, and a Chicago man is dead.
Unfortunately, there may have been more because over 100 people fled the hotel before we had contact with them.
The victim identified as 27-year-old James McGill. McGill lived in the city's Inglewood neighborhood. Police say they've been called out to the hotel for drug and gun cases in the past, even writing a letter to hotel management, asking them to address these issues.
Lighting, security, additional staff, management on duty. So we've conveyed to them that we had concerns back then, and we almost predicted that something could happen there.
During the party, which spanned 2 floors, investigators say only one employee was working and no security on scene.
Well, because of this incident, the owners of the Indian Lakes Hotel were forced to shut down their business. So not only did May 15th claim a life, but it also claimed a major business for a family.
New at 10, the Indian Lakes Hotel in West Suburban Bloomingdale will shutter for good after a deadly shooting there last month. Today, the hotel's owner, First Hospitality Group, agreed to surrender its business license and end all business on the property. Bloomingdale village leaders said the hotel had been a trouble spot for years.
Well, even though there were 200 people at the party, 0 people came forward with evidence. So of course we don't officially know who did this, but an O-Block member would post something on his story. The day after the incident, he would post a picture with a cutout of TQ and he'd say, "And now his killer is dead." On top of this, just the next day, a whole crew of O-Blockians would seemingly celebrate the loss. The new generation of O-Block was doing the same exact things as the past. But thankfully, to this point, O-Block was still unified as one, even after the loss of all their leaders. But then the Jado jumpouts would ruin all of that for the first time ever. These guys would instantly become more reckless than any generations of the past. So here's how it goes. The story goes that Manamond made the reckless decision to rob an OG O-Block member for $15,000. In the history of O-Block, this has never been okay, and OD, T-Roy, and Vaughn would definitely not allow this, especially because the alleged victim was one of T-Roy and Vaughn's closest friends. But for the young generation like Manamond, they had no respect for the elders and would literally cross anyone for money. Well, because of these reckless actions, an original O-Block member named A-Roy would call for the VP of Manamond. A-Roy was a respected and active member since back in the day, as you can even see him in vlogs from around 2012. So because of his seniority in the hood, he had every right to discipline Manamond. That takes us to December 15th, 2021. It's a regular day in O-Block, and all of the younger generation are hanging out inside the gates like any other day. This includes Manamond, who's chilling like he has nothing to worry about. He knows the older generation had warned him about what they're gonna do, but he simply just doesn't care. Well, A-Roy was not just talking, as here he comes ready to fight Manamond. So he walks up to him in front of the whole neighborhood, and boom, he starts whooping him. Everyone in the neighborhood is watching, and there's even girls on the top floor recording it. Then when A-Roy lets up on him, a tragedy strikes. Bang! The shot goes off, and A-Roy is rushed to the hospital. Sadly though, he wouldn't make it after surgery. A-Roy had survived all those years just to lose his life like this. He was a valuable and well-respected member of the community, and because of this, the generation was cursed. Nothing like this had ever happened in O-Block, and something needed to be done. So in order to keep peace, the older generation decided to collectively ban Manamond from O-Block. We messed up and took things too far. We don't want to hurt you, but come back around. Now the ball is in Mond's court. Disrespect your wishes and do what you want. For the first solution,
standing by.
Swallow your pride that everything will be peaceful. For the second solution, well, things could get ugly. Well, here's the problem. Now no longer the old days. The older generation will say so, and on top of this, they're way outnumbered. So Manamond completely disregards the ban. Really jump out to right the side. The original members cannot believe this, so here's what they do. First, everyone's brother and Big P posts on Instagram that everyone at O-Block better pick a side with him.
Y'all better pick a side on mine. I'm not playing. Quit playing on these little ass boys and y'all play.
He goes on live and saying that he feels the way he
I'm on it.
They took them to kill my brother. I'm a savage. Y'all out and kill me. Y'all kill my little brother. Now his daughter very mad. That's angry with me. And it pisses me off when she asks what her daddy. I can't believe O-Block, man. I put my heart and soul in this block. I can't believe O-Block, man. I put my heart and soul in this block.
Then Manamond takes to Facebook and responds in the most disrespectful way possible. When you die in front of you and you don't think that just makes you a bitch even more. Telling that to a man who just lost his life. Said the young generation of O-Block has zero respect for their elders. Well, as you would expect, he takes this to heart and decides to threaten all of the Jado jumpers.
Hey, Evo, you down? Mon, you down? What Mike, you down? D-Lo, yeah, Mon first, definitely first. No, I'm not right. Hey, Chuck, I know Mon Low, we gonna get over him anyway. We gonna feed him a sandwich before we kill him. Better move that crib. Think I'm gonna let that little slide me? Better move that crib.
Well, for whatever reason, Manamond takes this all as a joke and responds on Instagram Live.
Listen, nobody.
He ducking his damn self.
Threat. I'm fooling me, ain't no threat. I'm trying to make it seem like he a threat. He a goofy for the internet. They be thinking threats. Hey, he ain't no threat, man. Stop making it seem like he a threat. It's goofy on full of grade.
Trolls be woofing all day.
Nobody. I know ain't nobody gonna do. They can fool y'all with this internet. They ain't fooling me. Hey, getting that Jado jump out, boys. Jado jump out. That's it for life. I take that shit to the grave. That was my boy before the grave.
Enemy down.
After this, Big P and the jump outs would go back and forth online
Man
for
down.
plenty of days. But
Enemy
sadly,
down.
this is not LA where they talk about each other and
Tango
that's all
down.
that happens. This is Chicago where it always turns out badly.
Kill
The rest
confirmed.
of 2022 would be a bad year for Big P. According to him, the jump outs lit up O-Block that hit him in the face. Thankfully, though, the injuries were minor and he would be okay.
They can't believe I'm
Kill
still alive.
confirmed.
I'm still alive. My leg hurt. Hey, y'all was wrong. He just doing like this. They didn't even want to shoot. He shot me in my head. That boy was running so slow.
Good job.
Regardless, this is the moment where everyone realized that the internal beef
Standing
was
by.
something serious. Then, just a couple of weeks later, Big P's car and his dad's house are both lit up. Thankfully, no one was injured, but his car was towed. Yeah, things were looking bad for Big P. Officers not too long after, he would be arrested for a gunshot. But you know what? This may have been a good one.
Kill confirmed.
He was away from the Jado jump.
Tango down.
But not for long. On November 20,
Enemy down. Enemy down. Enemy
so now
down.
Big P and Manamon are together in the Cook County Jail. Well, that's awkward. But in typical Chicago fashion, Manamon's charges would be dropped and he was right back on the streets. After returning to Chicago, he would start his career as a show rapper, and honestly, I don't know why he isn't famous. So you guys can check out his music for yourself. I don't know if it's anything. While Manamon started gaining popularity, here's where things get really complicated. For whatever reason, a bunch of original O-Block members
Good job.
weren't supporting the comments.
Show me the money.
Big P is pissed. He literally did the straight on everyone. The youngins eliminated his brother, and now all of his broken homies are taking their side. You can only imagine how he makes them.
Yeah, I know you got last video. That's the last video we got.
Enemy down.
He can't rap. I hate it.
Kill confirmed. Kill
He sound like he
confirmed.
got spit in his mouth or something.
Well done.
Blow the 50. Hey, E, when you went to go blow a 50, bro?
See
don't
you
even
on
own
the
a
other
50. You got a
side.
little ass.
Well, according to rumors, the O-Block split is much more complicated than the older versus younger generation.
Kill confirmed.
From what we know, in the
Kill
summer
confirmed.
of 2022, he was not only beefing with the Jado jump outs, but also
Kill
beefing with his
confirmed.
friends. So let me
Enemy
break it
down.
The FTP Duck murder case was a pivotal moment for O-Block. A bunch of members accused other members of snitching and caused a whole bunch of nonsense. So Big P was If you're unfamiliar,
Perfect.
Bostop is one of the original O-Block residents and was best friends with O.D. Perry and T-Roy. So Bostop came out for snitching without any paperwork and doing it on live. I don't know about this one. But he claims to have information that Bostop snitched on one of his
Kill confirmed. Kill confirmed. Kill confirmed. Kill confirmed. Well done.
He then threatens him.
I'm killing your
Good
ass
luck.
in more and look like D-Lo. E, both top on
This is crazy, man. Just describes
Kill confirmed. Kill confirmed. Enemy down.
and now he's crashing out. But now
Kill
here's the big
confirmed.
question. Is Big P actually with the action, or is he all talk? Well,
Man
we
down.
don't exactly know.
Man
Something
down.
happened to Boss Talk. By this time, Boss Talk has reached the However, he will return to O-Block for a special occasion. It's July 4th and everyone gathers together in O-Block. Music is blasting and everyone is letting out for fun. This includes Boss Talk, who's just happy to be in the neighborhood and enjoying fun with his friends. Then out of nowhere, somebody rolls through. He was hit, but thankfully he was okay.
What the happened? You're just walking around. Like, we were talking about how O-Block's so nice, but you got shot right over there, right?
And I just know I was on Instagram. I was finna go live, and I just felt some.
You were about to go live.
Yeah, and I just felt something.
Out on the street, not in the actual complex.
I just felt something happen. That's it.
Right.
I just felt something.
Where?
In my back, and my arm. Came on my side, like this.
You had to go out there?
I had to go to the damn hospital. I don't want to. We ain't got no bootleg, dog.
So obviously, Boss Talk is in good spirits, and he's an example that if you have old beef,
Too easy.
we don't know exactly who did this, but all this internal conflict is definitely sad. If O.D. Perry, T-Roy, or Ron saw it, they would lose their minds.
the other side.
One of the most controversial figures in Chicago streets. Through all of the chaos growing up,
This way.
He was able to stay focused in school and make his dreams come true. Because of this, his devastating to the community. Well, according to the internet, his 16-year-old daughter Royale was it's the same person
In the middle of it. I mean,
Show me the money.
take pictures when y'all not allowed to. And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in. Checking in? What is that? I check in with the real one. That's why I'm in the middle of the block. You see the hoop?
This way.
I'm in the middle of the block. Listen, man.
But on a serious note, we can only hope that the future block will stop. These generations of beef, absolutely nothing has come from it but devastation. On top of this, you're beefing over a block that you don't even own.
See
How
you on
silly
the other
is that?
side.
The craziest all we can do is hope that the future of Chicago gets better. No child in the world deserves to be raised in this environment. Well, that's it for this episode of Swamp Stories. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe.
Engaging target.
Warning, this video contains scenes of violence, death, and damage. It does not intend to glorify, incite, or
Standing by.
encourage illegal behavior. All of the information is taken from public sources and is shown on the basis of fair use. I've made every effort to ensure accuracy of the sources while not responsible for any content third parties publish. Every effort has been made to censor this video in accordance with YouTube's internet guidelines. Of this video, you can do so on patreon.com/SuperRush. But if you're not interested in that, just hit the subscribe button and prepare to hear from the craziest stories of the day. When it comes to famous gangsters, Chicago's real scene who never rapped, there are few names that ring bells as loudly as T-Roy. This is largely due to some of the biggest and most influential drill rappers ever, like Chief Keef, Lil Durk, King Von, Rondo No. 9, and others, commonly mentioning him in their songs, often rapping about this pocket-sized savage who stood at only 5'2", carrying guns and not being afraid to use them, essentially being one of their most admired shooters. T-Roy, real name James Johnson, got his nickname from his second name, Troy, which is appropriately derived from the Old Irish word meaning foot soldier, someone who's really in the field during wartime. T-Roy was born and raised in the infamous Parkway Gardens apartment complex, better known nowadays. O-Block's located on the south side of Chicago, on the border of Woodlawn, more specifically West Woodlawn and Washington Park. O-Block is not only an apartment complex with almost 700 units, but it's also the name of an alleged gang that resides there. The gang most recently made famous by 6 members who were convicted of the murder of rapper X.T. Duck.
Tango down.
STL from nearby St. Lawrence.
Tango down.
T-Roy himself was more than a member from Oakland set, the street gang who
Enemy
pledged
down.
to the historical Black Disciples founded by the
Enemy down.
Chicago gangster David Barksdale. T-Roy himself had 2 brothers who were known on the streets as HK and Slutty. Both of those brothers have since turned up. Their mother would also raise 3 other cousins as her own. Zelmina,
Tango down. Well done.
Zelmina now also dead, taking his own life, being identified as a shooter in the murder of FTV. But the story of T-Roy's siblings could very well be a funny video. But T-Roy, growing up on the south side of Chicago, he would become accustomed to death at a very early age. In 2009, he was seen on the strongly confirmed tragic death of a young woman from Parkway Gardens who seemingly died. But clearly this woman
Kill confirmed.
Facebook account. But this is also a time when news like T-Roy were beginning to truly experience the violence taking place in the streets of Chicago. In 2011, O-Block would end up losing 2 important members to gang violence, OD and T. The first
Tango
accused,
down.
OD Perry, was the very person who the gang O-Block would take their name from, with Parkway Gardens formerly being known on the streets as the Rick City, but after OD's death, the gangsters there would proud to call themselves O-Block. Undoubtedly, these deaths played a major role in making young T-Roy become increasingly influential on the streets. And not long after this, he would allegedly begin his years-long revenge campaign against violence towards the opposition of O-Block, with T-Roy ultimately gaining a reputation as one of Chicago drill's most famous shooters, all of which without ever rapping a single bar.
Squad, Glock boys. Yay! Squad, my nigga
fire, baby.
Enemy
Go
down.
fire.
Tango down. Enemy down.
Motherfucker up on me, I will shoot you. No problem. I will shoot you.
John Road, folks, walking through that bitch, folks. All day, folks.
Leave me the alone. Cause I stay with my 70. Well, I'm solo right now.
Enemy down.
Cause New York, I was on your ass.
Perfect.
You know, looking at you and none of that shit. I'm just gonna storm you down there. Storm, bitch. I'll be my brother, man. Storm gang. Bro, stretch down, storm gang.
On the 3rd of December 2011, at around 3:45 p.m, a young man named Dale Fisher, also known as Squirrel, was walking with a friend to the corner store on 62nd and St. Lawrence when a silver two-wheel car would pull up next to him. Someone leaned out the window, opening fire, hitting Dale several times. This was a brutal and senseless slaying, but even more brutal was the fact that in the aftermath, someone was hit with graphic images of Dale's body along the sidewalk. It's moments like this that really drive home just how dark the streets. After the shooting and after being hit on the ground, Dale was taken to the hospital and pronounced dead about half an hour later. Facebook report claims that Dale was shot a total of 12 times. According to Dale's friends and family, he wasn't really a gang member and would rather spend time in a youth centre than on the streets. Dale's family had actually moved away from the Washington Park area to the Chapman neighborhood in the south.
Kill confirmed.
Dale would still come back to his old stomping grounds.
Enemy down.
Friends, some of whom would be
Kill
affiliated
confirmed.
in the area that were enemies of Oblock. This included STL on St. Lawrence Avenue and EBT on Everhart and
Kill confirmed.
City on 62nd, as well as crews within them like FYB and FBG. In the years following Dale's death, many of these people would tweet about Dale being an innocent civilian who had nothing to do with any gang rivalries in the area. However, Dale was seemingly around real gang members who had many enemies in the streets. One video of Dale, seemingly taken within a day of his murder, was even circulating online. Dale would be seen in pictures throwing up gang signs, suggesting that he himself was already been sucked into the gang.
Good job.
And seemingly, his connection to gangs would come from family
Show me the
ties,
money.
as Dale's big brother was a known St. Lawrence member who went by the name Main Man. Main Man was even seemingly mentioned in the police reports regarding the murder of Odie Perry, with Odie's mother stating that she had heard that a man called Main Man was behind Odie's murder. Dale's killer has never been caught, but there have been several factions and suspects who have been rumoured to have been behind this murder. For example, in 2012, rapper
Tango
Black
down.
brother Ricky Gerber was seemingly implicated in a long
Tango down.
Another popular suspect in the murder is E.B. Rose, who belongs to the 600 set and is very close to Oblock themselves. However, Oblock's own T-Roy has also been suspected of being involved in Dale's murder. Well, when the first original murders were committed. Although some have claimed that T-Roy couldn't have been involved, as he may well have been locked up at the time of the murder. However, recently, this case received a crucial update during the recent trial relating to the murder of FBG Duck, when one of the cooperators, allegedly FBG Butter, would tell investigators that Dale had indeed been killed by T-Roy and T. Rose. While the case was never definitively solved, the willingness of federal prosecutors
Man down.
to T-Roy, the killer, and paperwork speaks volumes. However, this was only the first of many gruesome murders which T-Roy was thought to play a role in. The next one was Susan allegedly being assisted by his best friend, killer and rapper from Oblock, and Down. About 5 months after the murder of Dale, on the 28th of April 2012, at around 9:30 p.m, a 23-year-old man called Doc, or King Doc, living on the road, was walking the 63rd in St. Lawrence, the heart of STL's territory, when somebody opened fire as he was in front of the corner store, striking him once in the chest. Doc would then try to escape his attacker across the road through a patch of tall weeds in an empty lot in the 6300 block of St. Lawrence, where he would ultimately succumb to his injuries, passing away on the spot. However, when police had come to investigate the reports of shots fired, they couldn't see Doc laying there in the tall weeds. They leave him there, and it wasn't until Doc's relative, the teenage boy named Model McCambry, would go through the empty lot on his way home hours later that he would actually stumble upon Doc's body. According to Doc's family, he had been going through a rough patch in his life and had recently been freed after doing a prison but he was seemingly also self-employed. Doc had only recently begun getting his life together, getting his GED in prison, and now he wanted to get himself a
Target eliminated. Enemy down.
In fact,
Tango
the night he was
down.
killed, Doc had actually been at his aunt's property
shortly before his life was cut short. However, Doc was also allegedly gang
Kill
affiliated,
confirmed.
particularly with the EBC set named after
Kill confirmed.
who were close with several other gang sets in the area, including STL, Jaro City, and MLB. People seemingly affiliated with these sets would also mourn Doc's death on their social media. Some of them even seemingly alluding to knowing exactly how to kill Doc and vowing revenge. The police would also monitor on social media that members of these gangs heard Ron and Brick City, which is an older name for 600's hood, responsible for Doc's murder. On the other hand, MLB Beans would tweet how he was about to do his ops like Whip, the former name of O'Block, had done to Doc. Now, despite there not being many hard facts about the suspect, online Chirac apologists on Reddit who follow the Chicago operation closely theorized that Roy may well be the most likely culprit in the murder of Doc. This is seemingly based on factors like Roy being known for aiming to the chest and for killing affiliates that weren't directly involved in the beast that we got. There are also claims that EDG had been talking about catching Roy on Facebook immediately following the death of Doc, but ultimately this murder remained unsolved despite many people believing
enemy down. Kill confirmed.
Interestingly, King Von would start a Twitter account in the months that followed this murder, where he would seemingly speak openly about his friendship with Roy and their activities in the streets together, saying that they shoot people like it's nothing, and tweeting openly that he was killed. With this sort of thing casually being tweeted about Roy, it's no surprise then that within a matter of months, they would both be suspected of getting the murder of Megan. In the early morning hours of August the 8th, 2012, 28-year-old man named Royale Joshua, known on the streets as Dirty Rel, was at the scene of 56 in Warback. Here, he was shot several times. The police would arrive to the scene soon after, finding Rel motionless on the ground, where he was then taken to hospital and pronounced dead around 4 a.m. Like Doc, Rel was affiliated with some of the gangs in this area, such as STL and Jaro City, and members of these gangs would mourn his death on social media after his passing. But Rel was even older than Doc, and he had seemingly moved away from this area in Chicago some years ago to the city of Peoria, around 2.5 hours drive from where he was killed. It's unclear why Rel was in Chicago the night of his murder, or exactly who killed him. Again, King Roy's name became attached to the case, as with King Von's, who would ominously post the previous night that there was a smell of homicide in him. Ron may well have been driving around looking for ops that very night, and then posting the next night within hours of Rel being shot, showing that Ron was indeed awake for the time of the murder. Once again, also Dean Rose from 600, who was known to slide with O'Block, was connected to this case as part of the theory in the legendary Chirac witches, with it believing that Dean Rose himself assisted in the murder. Now, while it's not clear exactly who shot Rel, it seems that his friends thought that this murder was indeed done by O'Block, because the very next night they would exact their revenge. That night, on the 8th of August, O'Block member by the name of Whitey wore many times O'Block were all celebrating They went to the store near the apartment complex while Whitey would wait outside. Unfortunately, it was there when Whitey was shot to death by a member of Jaro City called 50 Shot, who was then caught by the police right near the scene of the murder, even shooting it out with the cops. It would take over 10 years for justice to finally be delivered in this case, as in 2023, 50 Shot would finally be sentenced for the murder of White and 2 attempted murders of the police officers who arrested him, with him receiving a whopping 115-year sentence. As I've discussed in length in my video, King Von, Rap's first serial killer, this was a moment that would make King Von yearn for revenge. After the death of White, Von begun a determined sliding campaign with the goal of killing all of O'Block's ops, and Von would later rap on his song Demon that it was literally witnessing Whitey's murder that turned him into a demon, motivating him to commit numerous murders. And as Von would often discuss, his number one partner during this campaign to kill was his best friend, T-Roy, and soon they would seemingly catch another body together, this time with a dark connection to the first man that Von and the second T-Roy had allegedly killed. About 2 months after the death of Dirty Rel and Whitey, O'Donnell Cambridge, his relative Doc, dead earlier that year, was walking with his friend on the street in STL's territory. The gunman would approach him on foot and shoot him in Modell. This time, his cousin Miles Cooper would heroically attempt to shield Modell with his own body, also ending up getting shot numerous times. Miles would miraculously end up surviving the incident despite being confined to a wheelchair, as was seen in a media piece about him where he met former governor of Illinois, twin. Unfortunately, despite his heroic attempt to Modell would end up losing his life. The big gang-related, part of the ongoing rivalry between O'Block, Warwick City, and STL, with Modell affiliated. This time, police were even able to figure out two specific suspects, one of these being King Von, a Roman Golden Bennett, who later turned into the shooter, accompanied by T-Roy, who was allegedly being as well. Unfortunately, due to many witnesses looking for the investigators investigators have a variation that Don and T-Roy will ultimately not be charged for his murder. They will continue to taunt
You on the other side.
media, seemingly bragging openly about their victims, with Von literally tweeting the day after the murder that him and T-Roy just can't stop killing, and telling their Twitter followers to stay tuned and find out who will die next. However, after Von's death, patients would finally get witnesses to come forward, and the case was ultimately closed, with Von becoming guilty. The last murder that Von and T-Roy were suspected of being involved in was the killing of a high-profile speaker in the rival Chicago Down, and yet another killing which can travel the mystery and theory for years now.
ASAP.
In the morning of November the 8th, 2012, not even a month after the murder of Royale, another STL member could be found in the Whitewood neighborhood in Clarksville, West Side. However, this time it was a 17-year-old Gordon Stewart and the streets of Josh Trail from STL, who had been shot once in the back of the head and was found laying dead in a gang with a Glock handgun tucked underneath his body. Only a few hours before being found, Josh Trail had made a tweet stating that he was going back to sleep. So if he was going back to bed, how did he end up shot? The shooting was actually held by several residents in the area, but one of these witnesses had spotted a thin-billed man with an average height wearing a white sweater running away from the scene. Another witness had seen a black van driving away from the scene, wearing a hoodie, wearing a backpack, running while yelling for help. While the police were trying to piece together tiny tidbits of information, Bosch Trail had been rushed to hospital, so he would continue to fight for his life. Later that morning, Bosch Trail's friend began reacting to the news from being in hospital, and soon FBG Cash would post a picture on Twitter of himself holding Bosch Trail's hand. He would also post several tweets that sounded like threats and antagonism towards the people that he believed had Bosch Trail. Going nuts on the streets of the Royale. Only a few minutes later, T-Roy and King Von would begin criticism of their own. Trail trying to have someone struggle. T-Roy would even tweet Essen down below to go into the find reality. Created as a victim. King Von would then go out with another part of the Roy himself would reference the situation mockingly, tweeting, "No Trail, stay alive." Unfortunately, later that night, Bosch Trail would pass away from his injuries. But still, even the next day, King Von would continue to taunt STL, claiming that STL really stood for steady taking losses, as well as referencing Bosch Trail directly, tweeting, "He ain't a boss to him." Tragically,